The last century has seen major steps forward for women here in Gibraltar. In 1947, ladies were given the right to vote, and a woman was elected to the city council. Fast forward to 1964 and you have the first female police officer, as well as the first woman to be a minister in government. The 80s saw legislation aimed at gender equality in the workplace. Later in the decade, the ROC's first female mayor was sworn in. 1991 was a big year in law, with the Family and Domestic Violence Acts both passed, giving women greater protections. And in 1995, a woman became Gibraltar's Attorney General for the first time. It was only in 2003 women were invited to serve on juries. Also in the courts, 2010 saw the first female puisne judge sworn in. And in 2021, Gibraltar voted to legalise abortion. Most recently, just this week, GBC announced its first ever female chair on its board. From the suffragettes of the early 20th century to modern-day campaigners, women's rights have certainly come a long way.
Women were repressed in Gibraltar for far longer than in the UK. Without things like refrigerators, without things like washing machines, without things like any of the helps and aids that women have nowadays and men have nowadays to do their housework, doing all the work at home was a full-time occupation. So it didn't really allow, certainly working class women, any leisure to do anything other than the basic looking after the home and looking after the family. And all that changed in the 20th century.
Women's Day honours trailblazing women who've paved the way to where we are today.
I think the first notable Gibraltarian woman whom I'd like to pay tribute to is Margaret Creswell. Now, her parents were English, and she was born in Gibraltar and lived in Gibraltar almost all her life. Now, Margaret Creswell was invited by the Postmaster General of Great Britain to become Postmistress of Gibraltar. She didn't apply for the job. She was invited to do so as a woman in her 20s, which was remarkable. And at a time when all civil service posts, including that of typists, were in the hands of men, she was the beacon, the only woman, and at that, a head of a government department. It was not till 100 years after she was first appointed as postmistress that you got another Gibraltarian woman becoming a head of a government department.
Progress for women is progress for everyone.